The autumn wind in Ann Arbor was brisk that morning, scattering amber leaves across the sidewalk as Evelyn Lancaster walked beside her mother. The 12-year-old had a soft, measured gait, her eyes fixed on the chalkboard sign outside the little bakery on Main Street. It read, in wobbly cursive, "Pumpkin muffins are back." Evelyn smiled faintly. She couldn't hear the bustle of the cafe, the clinking of coffee cups or the cheerful conversations inside. Born profoundly deaf, Evelyn had never experienced sound the way most people did. But she could feel vibrations. And that morning, she felt the tremble of a nearby car stereo thudding from down the street. She looked up, lips parted slightly. Her mother, Olivia, followed her gaze and saw what Evelyn saw, a car waiting at the light, windows down, music blasting. Taylor Swift. Evelyn didn't need the lyrics to know the song. She could feel the beat of it, like a pulse in the air. She had memorized the melodies through hours of watching music videos with captions, reading lips, studying facial expressions, and pressing her hand against the speaker to feel the rhythm. Taylor's music was her lifeline. Not because it gave her sound, but because it gave her feeling. That night, after brushing her long dark hair and pulling on her pajamas, Evelyn sat down at her little desk and took out a sheet of paper. She carefully wrote each word in neat, sloping cursive. No autocorrect, no grammar checks. Just pen and hope. Dear Taylor Swift. My name is Evelyn. I'm 12. I live in Michigan. I was born deaf, but I love your music. I watch your videos with captions and I feel the beat with my hands. I don't know if this letter will ever reach you. But I just want to say thank you for making me feel seen. You sing about being different, and being strong. I want to be strong like that too. I wish I could go to your concert one day, even if I can't hear it. I would just watch everyone around me dance. I think that would be enough. Love. Evelyn. Her mom found the letter the next morning, folded with a small drawing of a microphone and a cat on the back. Olivia read it and froze. She didn't say much. Just nodded, kissed Evelyn's forehead, and promised to send it. She didn't expect anything to come of it. Life went on. Evelyn returned to school, where she was one of 2 deaf students. The world, as always, moved too fast, too loud. Her interpreter was out sick for a few days, and those days felt like swimming underwater, trying to surface in a classroom that never looked her way. But Evelyn kept going. She always did. One Monday in November, her mom came home from work looking rattled. She pulled Evelyn aside, signing every word clearly. You got a letter. From New York. Evelyn's heart skipped. Her hands trembled as she opened the envelope. Inside was a printed letter on ivory stationery. And at the top, in a soft pink script, Taylor Swift. Evelyn blinked hard, lips trembling. Her mom read it aloud with her, signing each sentence. Taylor thanked her. Told her she had read Evelyn's letter and cried. That Evelyn reminded her why she ever started writing songs in the first place. That she wished she could meet her one day. Then the twist. Taylor invited Evelyn and her mom to a show. Front row tickets. VIP passes. And backstage. It was surreal. Olivia spent the next 2 weeks making arrangements, checking every detail, double confirming accessibility, and borrowing money from her brother to cover travel costs. It was a whirlwind of permission slips, forms, and wide-eyed disbelief. The day of the concert, Evelyn wore a white dress with tiny silver stars sewn into the hem. Her mom braided her hair and clipped in a small butterfly pin, Evelyn's favorite symbol of transformation. At the venue, they were ushered past crowds, through hidden doors and velvet ropes, until they stood under the massive lights of the stadium floor. The bass thumped like a heartbeat under Evelyn's feet. Lights spun. Fans screamed. And Evelyn stood still, hands clasped to her chest, her whole body feeling the music. Just before Taylor's set began, a loud alarm blared from the far corner of the arena. Security guards rushed in. The jumbo screen cut to black. There were murmurs of an emergency, an equipment failure or threat, no one was sure. Panic spread quickly. Evelyn clutched her mom's hand tightly, confused by the sudden flurry of movement and the look of dread in the faces around her. For 15 long minutes, the arena was on edge. Announcements crackled over the PA, none of which Evelyn could hear. She looked around, scared. Everyone stood still, waiting. And then Taylor appeared. No spotlight. No fanfare. Just her, sneakers, hoodie, ponytail, walking calmly out onto the stage. She grabbed a mic, even before the system was fully restored, and said, "We're okay. Nothing's stopping this show. Especially not tonight." The crowd erupted. The music resumed. But Evelyn didn't cheer. She felt that moment. The shift. The rawness. The calm in chaos. The woman she'd admired for years was more than a singer. She was presence. That night, Evelyn danced. She didn't hear a note, but she felt everything. At one point, Taylor looked in her direction, Evelyn swore it, and smiled. What Evelyn didn't know yet was that Taylor had something else planned. Something no one saw coming. And that's where we pause. The morning after the concert, Evelyn woke in the hotel room feeling weightless, like her entire body had been filled with helium. She stared at the ceiling fan as it turned slowly, the memory of the night before pulsing through her veins. The lights, the bass, the crowd moving like a single living organism. But most of all, Taylor. Her mom sat nearby, sipping coffee, scrolling through her phone. She tapped Evelyn gently on the arm, motioning for her to come over. "You've gone viral," Olivia signed, her fingers moving with astonishment. Evelyn squinted at the screen. There she was, blurry at first, in the front row, her hand pressed against her chest, tears streaking down her face as Taylor sang, "You Belong With Me." The caption read, "Deaf girl lives her dream at Taylor Swift concert. Just look at her smile." Over the next few hours, her inbox flooded. The story spread, shared by news outlets, Swiftie fan accounts, and even a disability advocacy organization. Evelyn didn't fully grasp the size of what was happening until they got home and the local news station showed up outside their apartment complex. They wanted to do a feature. Evelyn sat stiffly in her living room, the bright cameras in her face, while a smiling reporter asked her questions slowly so Olivia could interpret. Evelyn was shy but poised. She told the reporter about the letter, about how Taylor made her feel included, even when the world didn't. She said something that stuck. "People think you have to hear music to love it. But I feel it in my bones." And just like that, Evelyn became a symbol. A representation. The kind the media loved. The deaf girl who felt music. She was invited to speak at a school event. Her principal pulled her aside in the hallway to tell her how inspired he was. A boy who'd never noticed her before asked her to join his art club. For the first time in her life, Evelyn wasn't invisible. But visibility came with weight. Online, the comments weren't all kind. Some doubted her. Others made jokes. One post, in particular, went viral on a forum. "Why give concert tickets to a girl who can't hear? That's like giving a bike to someone without legs." Olivia saw it first and didn't show Evelyn. But Evelyn wasn't naive, she had classmates whispering, teachers hesitating around her like she might break. The attention began to dim her spirit. She didn't want to be a symbol. She just wanted to be a girl who loved music. And that's when the second twist began to build. 2 weeks after the concert, a FedEx envelope arrived. Inside was a single sheet of heavy cardstock with embossed silver lettering. It read, "You are invited to a private event, Sound Without Sound, an experimental listening experience curated by Taylor Swift. No media. No cameras. Just 20 invited guests from across the country. People with different sensory experiences, blind, deaf, neurodivergent, and more. Taylor was hosting it herself. Evelyn sat motionless, the invitation in her lap. Olivia gently touched her arm. "You don't have to go," she signed. "It's okay if you're overwhelmed." But Evelyn shook her head slowly. "I need to." They flew to New York, this time quieter, more deliberate. No cameras waiting at the gate. No media frenzy. Just a quiet black car waiting with their names printed neatly on a placard. The event was held in a repurposed church, tall ceilings, soft light, a strange hush in the air. As they entered, a staffer handed each guest a small device and a headset. For those who could hear, it altered sound into tactile pulses. For those who couldn't, it projected light vibrations onto the skin through wearable pads. Taylor appeared not on stage, but beside them. No spotlight this time. She wore jeans, a cardigan, and sneakers. She sat on the floor with the group and spoke, not like a pop star, but like someone trying to understand. "Music saved me," she said, "and for a long time, I thought it had to come through the years. But Evelyn reminded me, it can be more." Then she did something no one expected. She pulled out a notebook, Evelyn's notebook. It was the exact one Evelyn had used to write her letter. Somehow, Taylor had kept it. And she began reading it aloud, slowly, reverently, like each word was sacred. Her voice cracked on the sentence. "I wish I could go to your concert one day, even if I can't hear it." Then she looked directly at Evelyn. "You didn't just attend my concert. You changed how I think about performing." The room went silent. Taylor walked over, reached into a small case, and revealed something she had been developing in secret, a tactile stage mat for future concerts. A collaboration with engineers and accessibility advocates. A way for deaf fans to feel the rhythm beneath their feet more clearly than ever before. "We're calling it the Evelyn floor," she said. Tears welled in Olivia's eyes. Evelyn just stared, overwhelmed. She reached out, her hand trembling, and Taylor took it. The two sat like that for a moment, quiet, present, connected. Not a star and a fan. But two people who had seen each other across a chasm, and built a bridge. The crowd applauded, not loudly, but with raised hands, the way the deaf community celebrates. Evelyn didn't need sound to know she belonged in that room. And this was only the beginning. Back in Michigan, the world looked the same, but Evelyn had changed. She walked the school halls not with pride, but with a strange ache in her chest. After the event in New York, after the Evelyn floor was revealed, her story had gone beyond viral. Now it wasn't just news channels, major outlets like Time and the New York Times were requesting interviews. Accessibility advocates wanted her to speak. Celebrities reposted clips from the event. But Evelyn didn't want to become anyone's symbol. Her mom saw it first. The slump in her daughter's shoulders. The quiet distance. Evelyn didn't sign as much anymore, not even around the house. She spent more time sketching in her notebook, drawing small figures on stage, crowds beneath them, stars in the corners. But the figures were always alone. One evening, Olivia sat down beside her on the couch, held her hand gently, and signed. "You don't have to change the world, Evelyn. That's not your job." Evelyn blinked. Her lips pressed together. She nodded. But the pressure was already inside her. She couldn't unknow what it felt like to matter. And she feared that if she stopped doing something important, she'd fade again, become invisible, like she had been before. She started spending time at the local community center, helping with younger kids in the after-school program. One little girl, Kayla, also deaf, clung to her like a shadow. Kayla had trouble making friends, trouble with language. But Evelyn connected with her through drawing and gestures. One day, Kayla tugged on her sleeve and pointed at a worn poster on the wall. "Talent show, this Saturday." Evelyn tilted her head. Kayla pointed to herself. Then to Evelyn. Then signed, "Sing." Evelyn smiled softly and shook her head. But Kayla insisted. Her little fingers stubborn, eyes wide with belief. That night, Evelyn lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, heart pounding. Sing. It was a word that had haunted her for years. She had always loved the idea. But singing required a voice. And she had spent her life without one, at least not the kind that made sound. Still, the thought lingered. At school the next day, Evelyn asked her ASL teacher if it was possible to perform a song in sign. "You mean sign language interpretation?" Evelyn shook her head. She meant performance. Expression. Emotion. Not just translation. She wanted to tell a story through her hands. The teacher nodded slowly. Then smiled. "It's more than possible. It's powerful." Evelyn chose a song, Taylor's "The Archer." Soft. Vulnerable. Raw. She spent days rehearsing in front of the mirror. Practicing each hand shape, each movement, syncing it to the rhythm she felt in her chest. She watched Taylor's performances online, not for the notes, but for the feel. She crafted each gesture like a verse in a poem. When Saturday arrived, Evelyn stood backstage with Kayla, both dressed in matching lavender dresses. The lights buzzed. The air smelled like popcorn and cheap cologne. She peeked out through the curtain and saw a packed house, parents, teachers, and students. She felt her stomach churn. Her name was called. The lights dimmed. She walked out alone. No mic. No sound. Just her. Then the music began, The Archer, low and ghostly. Evelyn couldn't hear it. But she knew it. She counted the beats in her head, closed her eyes, and let her hands tell the story. Each movement was precise. Sharp when the lyrics hurt. Gentle when they longed. Her face shifted with every emotion, grief, hope, doubt, strength. The room was so quiet, it felt like the entire audience had forgotten to breathe. When she finished, she stood still. For 1 second. 2. 3. And then. Applause. Not just clapping. Stomping. Cheering. Kayla ran out and hugged her mid-stage. Olivia sobbed in the crowd. The next day, the video went online. Again, it exploded. But this time, Evelyn wasn't a symbol. She was an artist. She began receiving letters, other deaf kids, and hearing ones too, saying how moved they were. One boy in Texas wrote, "You made me want to learn ASL. I didn't even know it was that beautiful." A woman from Chicago messaged, "I'm hard of hearing and always felt ashamed. Watching you helped me forgive myself." That's when Taylor reached out again. This time, it wasn't a press release or a scheduled invite. It was a FaceTime call. Taylor appeared on screen, smiling wide, in a hoodie and messy bun. Evelyn gasped and waved. "I saw your performance," Taylor said. "You took my song and made it something entirely new. You sang it better than I ever could." Evelyn blushed and signed, "Thank you." Taylor continued, her tone more serious. "I'm planning something. A new tour. A new format. One where everyone, can feel included. And I want you to help me design it." Evelyn's eyes widened. Her hands trembled. Taylor wasn't offering a favor. She was offering a seat at the table. The next few weeks were a blur, emails, sketches, ideas. Evelyn wasn't just a fan anymore. She was a collaborator. But just when it felt like everything was rising, Evelyn received another letter. This one was different. It was from her father. She hadn't seen him in 6 years. The envelope was plain. No return address. Just Evelyn's name, written in a hand she hadn't seen since she was 6 years old. Her mother froze when she saw it. She had never spoken badly of Evelyn's father, hadn't needed to. The silence around his absence was loud enough. Evelyn opened it with trembling hands. Evelyn. I saw you on TV. I know I don't have the right to reach out, but I wanted to tell you I'm proud of you. I'm sorry I didn't stay. I was scared. I thought your deafness meant you'd be limited, and I didn't know how to be a father to someone I didn't understand. But I do now. Watching you changed me. If you ever want to talk, or not talk, I guess, I'd like to try. Love. Dad. She sat with the letter for hours, staring at it. Part of her wanted to crumple it. Part of her wanted to scream. But mostly, she just felt everything. Later that night, she handed it to her mom, who read it quietly, then signed. You don't owe him anything. But if you want to meet him, I'll be there. Evelyn didn't decide right away. Instead, she poured herself into the work with Taylor. Over the next 3 months, Evelyn flew to Nashville multiple times, working with Taylor's team on the upcoming Eras Reimagined tour, a groundbreaking concept that would feature live ASL performances on stage, tactile floor spaces, vibration-synced seats, and visual storytelling embedded in every part of the show. But more than the tech, Evelyn pushed for empathy. Don't just make it accessible. Make it human, she told the production team. Don't just build for us, build with us. Taylor listened. Every time. They formed a quiet bond, 2 women from different universes, linked by one truth: music, when done right, doesn't have to be heard to be felt. Then, in early spring, Taylor called Evelyn again. I want you to open the first night. Evelyn blinked. Signed back slowly. You mean, perform? I mean tell your story. In your language. In your way. No backup dancers. No glitter. Just you. Raw. The opening night would be in Chicago. A sold-out crowd. National coverage. Tens of thousands of people watching. Evelyn's heart thundered in her chest. But she said yes. She crafted something new, not a song, not a speech, but a journey. On the night of the show, Evelyn stood behind the stage curtain, her hands cold, her chest buzzing. She wore a simple black dress. Her hair braided back. She stepped onto the stage. No lights. No sound. Just darkness. Then, a soft light, her alone in the center. She raised her hands. And signed. I was born into silence. Not into sorrow. But the world didn't know how to meet me there. It tried to fix me. Ignore me. And for a long time, I believed I was less. Behind her, visuals bloomed, a forest, a girl running barefoot, stars blooming from her fingertips. Then I found music. Not through my ears. But through skin. Pulse. Story. The screen behind her shifted, showing clips from her life. The letter. The concert. The small moments that had shaped her. This is not about Taylor Swift. This is not about a stage. This is about the girl in the back row, who's never been seen. The boy who hides his stutter. The mother who signs in grocery aisles. The artist who paints with his feet. This is about voice. And how sometimes, the loudest ones don't make a sound. The crowd sat in still silence. Then erupted, thousands of people holding up their hands in silent applause. Evelyn smiled. Backstage, Taylor met her with tears in her eyes. That was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And Evelyn whispered, using her voice this time, imperfect but strong. Thank you for seeing me. That night, she met her father. He stood outside the venue, awkward, holding a bouquet of slightly wilted flowers. Olivia hovered nearby, uncertain but ready. He knelt in front of Evelyn. Didn't speak right away. Then signed. "I'm trying. If you'll let me." Evelyn looked at him for a long time. Then nodded once. Not forgiveness. Not erasure. Just a beginning. Evelyn's story wasn't about overcoming deafness. It was about reclaiming self-worth in a world that defines people by what they lack. Her journey reminded millions that limitations aren't always cages, they're often lenses, offering new ways to feel, to connect, to see what others miss. She didn't need to be loud to be heard. She just needed to be true. Recommended books for your own journey. 1. True Biz, by Sarah Novick, a powerful novel centered in a deaf school, exploring language, culture, and identity through a deeply human lens. 2. Brave, Not Perfect, by Reshma Sajani, a rallying cry to stop striving for perfection, and instead, choose courage every day. If Evelyn's story moved something inside you, a buried dream, a forgotten part of yourself, a desire to listen better, don't let it fade. Start small. Write the letter. Raise your hand. Say yes to the stage, even if your voice shakes.